Alright, so hello guys and welcome back to our other class about Microsoft Excel, the complete introduction course. So in today's class we are going to talk about relative versus absolute cell references. So you'll see guys, it's something that is not that hard, very simple to understand, and it's really for you guys, it's gonna be very important to understand for the rest of the course. So the first thing I'm gonna ask you is to create a little table like I did right here. So I wrote down menu and the price of some things. It's not important. The name here, what you write there, it's not important. Just create the same table. So quantity, price, and total. When it's all done, the first thing you will do, guys, write down an equal. Then you will multiply this cell, very important, you click on the cell and you click on the little multiply by this cell right here, and then you click on the enter button. So what we just did, we multiplied the cell F9 by the cell E9. So as you can see, it's here. We multiplied this cell by this cell. So it's $5 by 10 burgers, so it's gonna be $50. Right now, when it's done, you're gonna click on right here and just drag it down. So what just happened? So as you can see, the price right here is not equal to the price right here. Why? Because Excel automatically multiplied the cell under this cell right here. So as I said, to have this answer, we have to multiply F9 by E9. To have this answer, we have to multiply F10 by E10. To get this answer, it's the same thing, E11 by F11. So Excel adapted the answer to our to the cell where we choose to have the answer. So for example, this answer, Excel automatically gave us this answer by adapting the answer. So those are relative references. Why it's a relative reference? Well, very simple. Because as I said, Excel will adapt. If Excel is able to adapt the answer to you, well, it's gonna be a relative reference. For example, if the answers are changing, well, it's a relative reference. If they are not changing, that's another thing. So let's try it out. Let's write down another formula. So equal, let's say we will multiply E9 by F10. So you will see a certain price. Let's drag it till down here. So as you can see, guys, once again, the price changes. So right now, multiply this by this. In this cell, what's gonna happen? What Excel did, he multiplied this cell by this cell. Here, Excel multiplied this cell by this cell. And in the last one, Excel multiplied this cell by this cell. So as you can see, Excel automatically adapted its calculation to the cell. So this answers right here, those answers right here are also relative references because Excel adapted the answer to the cell. But let's say right now we add another argument that are taxes. Let's say the taxes are 10%. So right now, when I calculate the tax value, so what we will do, we will multiply the final price by the taxes. Very simple, it gives us $5. Then we'll write down total price. And simply click on equal the tax value plus the total price. So as you can see, our total price will be $55. But if we want to have the tax value for all our products, it's very simple. You simply drag this little thing right here. But what just happened? As you can see, we have things that doesn't make sense. Why? Because Excel tried to adapt the calculation. Right here, I multiplied G9 by H7. Then here, Excel multiplied G10 by H8. Here, Excel did the exact same thing. So the calculation doesn't make any sense. So what exactly we want to do? We want to block this number. So we want Excel to block this cell. So how do we block a certain cell? Very simple. We just have to put $sign in front of the first argument of the cell and in front of the second argument of the cell. So let me just be clear. If you want to just block one argument of the cell, you simply put a $sign in front of it. For example, I want to block the H, so it's always going to be H. I will put a $sign in front of it. If I want to block the 7, so it's always going to be the 7, I will only put a $sign in front of the 7. But if I want to block the whole cell, I simply put a $sign in front of both arguments, so in front of H and in front of the 7. When it's done, I can do the exact same thing. And as you can see, guys, I have the right prices. Why? Because I blocked the cell right here. So as you can see, the second calculation, what will happen? Excel will multiply this cell by this cell because the cell is locked. Here, Excel will multiply this cell by this cell. So as you can see, guys, Excel will adapt its calculation to the formula that you wrote. So if you block the cell, Excel will simply adapt the calculation, and it will not change both argument in each calculation, but will just change this one, and will multiply it by this cell. So this is, for example, in this formula, this is a relative reference. This will become an absolute reference. So the full calculation will be this, so F9 multiplied by E9, and all this multiplied by 10%. So this is the whole calculation. So in this formula, for example, the F9 multiplied by E9 will be the relative reference, and H7 will be the absolute reference because it doesn't change. And at the end, so if you want to have the total price, you can simply drag down this little thing right here, and you'll receive the right price, which will be also a relative reference because you will have this little thing right here, H9 plus G9. So you have this will be, so in this calculation, the absolute reference, so the absolute reference, the main difference between absolute and relative reference, the absolute reference will never change. So the absolute reference doesn't change. The relative reference can change and will adapt to the calculation that you are doing. The absolute reference doesn't change. So how to create absolute references, to summarize everything, as I said, it's very simple. You simply have to put $signs in front of your first argument and in front of your second argument. So here your first argument is H and the second is 7. So you simply put arguments in front of it, and this cell will never change. Same thing, for example, I want to do another calculation. Once again, it's just an example. I want to multiply, let's say, this by this. So as you can see, guys, I have an answer. Once again, the price is changed. I want to lock this price. So what I will do, I will simply put in front of H and $10 signs. And what will happen? Well, it's very simple. The only thing that will change is this argument right here. This argument doesn't change. So as you can see, the H10 remains here. The G here, it's G9. Here it's G10, G11, G12, etc. So right here it's 0 because it's 0 multiplied by our H10. So now you understand, guys, what is the main difference between relative and absolute reference. As I said, relative, very simple. It will change. It will adapt to the calculation that you make. And absolute reference, very simple. Well, it doesn't change at all. It's because of $signs, so that you put in front of both arguments. And yeah, so that's it for this course, guys. And see you in our next class, where we are gonna talk about a lot of other interesting things about Excel.